Well, my name's Ken Jordan, and I am currently the State Director for Texas for MUFON, which is the Mutual UFO Network.
Okay.
We're a worldwide research and data collecting organization. We investigate UFO, UAP sightings, hopefully for the betterment of all mankind. So we do have a purpose.
Yeah. UFO and UAP, are those basically...
We're starting to graduate from UFO to bringing in the new UAP thing. We still like UFO because in our business, if it's up there and we can't identify it, even though we think we know what it is, it's still an unidentified, and it's flying, and it's an object, so it's a UFO. But UAP, UFO, we're starting to become synonymous. We're comfortable with both.
Tell me how many reports you receive a month.
Well, just in Texas alone, we average probably 32 to 35 a month sighting reports that come in through MUFON.com, which is where you go to report a sighting. And then it goes to our headquarters now in Cincinnati, and it gets triaged there, and it's sent back to the state director. And I've got 32 investigators throughout the state, and a chief of investigations will look those cases over, assign them to the best investigator we think we have, and that investigator will do his due diligence and try and figure out what it is these folks are seeing. And it doesn't matter how anomalous it might seem, we give every case the same amount of due diligence, because you never know. You never know what's going to turn up during the analysis.
Yeah.
It may look like a UFO from the backside of planet Mars and turn out to be a Mylar balloon, or it could actually be something we don't know what it is.
So I sent you some videos and a photo recently. Let's focus on the videos though.
Okay.
Tell me, walk me through how you looked through them and
Well,
what you found.
the first thing I looked at was your photo, because it's a single frame. And when I first saw it, whenever an investigator looks at one of these things, if you're experienced, you'll establish an initial theory of what it might be. And then we go about to try and prove that theory. And if it branches off to something else, we'll run down that rabbit hole. But with the photo I got, since it was a bright sunny day, there was a rainbow over this beautiful house, the first thing I thought was, it's what we call a lens flare. What it was actually the sun that showed up in the frame, which is a lens flare, and that was easy to fix. And then I went into your videos, which to me were very intriguing, because I could see this bright shiny thing twirling around. And without any enhancement, it looked like a craft, diamond-shaped craft. But we went in and did some initial analysis, blew them up, repixelated them, cleaned them up a little bit, and it was pretty obvious to me that they were Mylar balloons, triangular, square-shaped Mylar balloons. It's possible they were actually black on one side and silver on the other, because I noticed as they rotated, they would get dark and then they would shine again. But there was two of them, and they were rotating. And then it looked like they were tied together with shiny things, which was probably a Mylar ribbon. But it was so far away, and we didn't have a lot of pixels to work with, so it's just a guess. I think it was a pretty good guess. But it was taken with an iPhone 13, and what made it interesting on them, 2 different videos, taken 2 different days, at 2 different times, but yet both objects in the video looked to be the same. In fact, exactly the same. And so I took it to the next level of enhancement. And I said, well, how can I get 2? Did someone do this on 2 different days, and did they Photoshop this thing into the background? So I go into it and check it for layering and Photoshopping. And sure enough, I come up with this what looked like a telltale Photoshop on the images. But what confused me was the buzzers in the background had these same pixelations that looked like they were Photoshopped in. And being an iPhone 13, which I'm not familiar with because it's very sophisticated, like I told you in your email, it could have been something to do with the iPhone 13. But it very much looked like it may have been Photoshopped. But now that I know what I know, I doubt if it was. So I'm sure it was something to do with the iPhone and the window that they were looking through. And so it would take some more investigation to find out what it is, but I think it's still going to come down to being Mylar balloons.
And tell me how long it took for you to come up with that initial analysis.
Well, you have to go in, and these were videos, and to do analysis, you got to take that video and break it down into frames, one frame at a time. So we'll go back and we'll find a good, solid photo, frame, and we start going frame by frame, one at a time, until we find the cleanest, clearest one that we can get, and then we'll capture that, and we'll keep going. We'll get a half a dozen of those, and then we'll pull those into another program and treat them like a photo, like I did your photo, your lens flare. And then we'll clean those up, repixelate those, enhance them, change the colors and the backgrounds and all that type of stuff until we can get us a nice clear image.
Yeah.
And that's how I came up, they're 2 balloons. But you never know, because sometimes we can do that and I say, yeah, what the heck is that?
Yeah.
Like the anti-gravity craft that we're now studying in Texas that I was talking to you about earlier. That started out as being a bird. But birds don't fly 186 miles an hour through Fort Worth.
Wow.
So, and we were able to determine that through this same process.
Okay.
Frame by frame analysis. And in the case with the bird that flies 186 miles an hour, we had enough reference material in the background that we could triangulate and do math.
Yeah.
Bring out your old calculus again, it works.
Talk to me the importance of documenting if you see something in the air and you have no idea what
Well,
it is.
what I would like for your viewers to understand is that there's an awful lot of strangeness going on above our heads. When I first started this, I didn't really believe in it that much. But after these many years and living vicariously through my witnesses and photos, and I finally saw one myself, they're very real. They're out there. So I would encourage everyone to keep looking up, and if you see something that you can't figure out what it is, try and get a video of it if you can. Videos are much easier to identify what it is than a photo, and send it to a research organization like MUFON. And there's several UFO organizations in the state that are very good, independent ones too. Just send it to somebody, have them look at it. And but you can always send it to MUFON, MUFON.com. Easy to remember, and we'll send that out to the field and get it looked at for you, because you never know what's going to develop.
Yeah.
I mean, they're out there and they're real, and we would like to get as many pictures of them as we can so we can try and figure out who they belong to and what the heck they're doing here.
Yeah. Has there been at least like one sighting, or how many sightings have been?
Say that again.
I'm trying to think of the way to word this. Have y'all come across anything where it's like this may be something of the sort?
Well, the one thing that we see a lot of right now, and this is throughout the country, actually throughout most of the more advanced countries, are these black triangles. A lot of those have been reported. For the most part, those are ours. And I think the government is bringing them down so we can see them, because we think they're going to probably disclose here, but not for too long. Sooner than later, we hope that we do in fact have a secret space program that's out there protecting us. But it's very, very hush-hush right now.
Yeah.
So we do see a lot of those. And we still report them as an unknown because, like the SR-71 spy plane from the 60s through the 90s, that thing flew for 17 years before we even knew it existed. And so we have, last count we know we have 43 of these triangular-shaped reconnaissance craft with a space mission that's watching out over us for us. So we'll see a lot of those. But the extraterrestrial folks that helped us develop that program, their design of choice is a triangle. So some of what we see triangles could be theirs, which they are.
Wow, that's so neat. That's so neat. Ken, is there anything I didn't ask that you think I should know?
Well, you asked me who to report them to. People always want to know, well, if I see something, who do I tell?
Yeah.
And so I like to put out, MUFON.com is really the easiest.
MUFON.com.
And we're actually the best.
Okay.
There's the other organizations out there are few, and they're good. But MUFON, we train our investigators.
Okay.
We bring in somebody who's already got a base. First of all, they have to have that burning desire to know what the truth is. And then they have to have that ability to think outside the box.
Okay.
And we'll take and develop those people into being a field investigator, specifically for investigating UFOs and unknowns. The process is not that much different from being a police officer.
Okay.
From what a policeman does during his investigation. It's still forensics. It's just forensics with a twist. So, so we are always looking for people who want to take it on. It can be time consuming, but it can also be rewarding.
Yeah.
The ones I like the most fun are the hoaxes. The ones that try to pull the wool over our eyes. But they take so much work to prove and we never tell somebody, you lying scum.
You want to?
You just took up about 6 hours of my time for nothing. We won't do that, but it takes a lot of work to prove somebody's lying to you.
Yeah.
But we can catch them.